Of all movie opening scenes, which one sold the entire film? The opening robbery scene in The Dark Knight. The Matrix opening with Trinity was filmed with the entire original budget to convince the studio that they weren't ducking around. I remember watching a YouTube video deconstruct that opening and explain why it's perfect. Example, when we first meet Trinity, she's clearly a super badass. And then when you see later in that scene how scared she is of the agent following her, that is how you properly set up a movie antagonist. Lord of War. The opening credits follow the life of a bullet. It's manufactured, quality checked, packed into a box and then shipped off to an African nation where it gets loaded into a gun and shot into the head of a child soldier. And then we meet the protagonist, Yuri, Nick Cage, standing on a floor of empty casings. Says there's 550 million firearms in the world. One for every 12th person on the planet. Takes a drag on his cigarette and asks, how do we the other 11? Edit, misremembered the order of the scenes as a few people have pointed out. Yuri's monologue about one gun for every 12th person, then the life of a bullet sequence. Also, thanks for the golds and silvers. I think the opening scene first chapter of Inglourious Basterds sets up the villain, Hans Landa, perfectly. Saving Private Ryan. I saw that right after visiting Omaha Beach. We stayed at a small bed and breakfast quite close to the beach, owned by a 80-year-old French woman who told us stories about how it went down. Amazing experience. She said the worst was the smell. It smelled dead bodies years and years afterwards. American Psycho. I remember listening to him list out every single thing he does to groom himself in the morning, and I thought, what a psycho, then thought, oh, I get it. Jurassic Park. It really sets the tone for the movie, and the foreshadowing gives you a creepy feeling leading up to the storm. Terminator 2. Starting with scenes of bustling everyday life. Rush hour traffic. Kids playing. etc. Then white flash to the same burnt out playground in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Sarah's somber voiceover explaining how it happened. We see a brutal battle between man and machine. Tanks and Terminators crushing human bones under metal treads and feet. We briefly meet the steely face of the human resistance and savior of mankind right before segging into the opening credits. Finishing with an endo skull grinning through the flames. Duck, yeah. Tell me that doesn't get you pumped right there even just reading it. Jaws. You never see the shark in the first attack. Just the knowledge that there's something under the water. Brilliant. Goodfellas. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Scream has an incredible opening scene. The THX intro. The Matrix. I thought Trinity was the villain. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Are you suggesting coconuts migrate? Fellowship of the Ring. Set a great tone for all of what was to come. Raiders of the Lost Ark. All the parts from opening to the point where Indy runs and meets the escape airplane. Spaceballs. That ship going by for 5 minutes or more had me rolling, and I never stopped laughing throughout that entire film. Pulp Fiction. I was 14 when I saw it, and the opening scene just completely blew me away. Up. Shaun of the Dead. Pirates of the Caribbean. Curse of the Black Pearl. The opening scene on the boat in the fog with the young Will and Elizabeth perfectly captures how hilarious, spooky, and kick-ass the rest of the movie is going to be. Also the first Lord of the Rings. So intense and on a massive scale, only to be followed by the happy Shire scenes. Children of Men. Especially if you've never read the book. Holy cow. That was powerful. Roger Ebert pointed out that Theo was scared when the cafe was bombed. It's how you know he wasn't going to be a cliched action hero. In fact, he never uses a gun once in the entire film. And everything about that opening scene is educating the viewer. The city streets are choked with smog. The tech screens draped off the buildings explain the setting, the near future, flawlessly. Then the newscast in the coffee shop perfectly explains the state of the world. No babies. And the youngest person has been murdered. Then boom. 28 weeks later, I didn't deserve all these upvotes, thank you. Yes. Dawn of the Dead as well. Both films let you know they aren't ducking around. Gladiator, 2000. That battle was incredible. Great dialogue. Excellent music. Human moments. Halloween. The original 1978 version. The entire sequence is a 5-minute uncut pop shot. And then they rip the mask off. And we see that this mysterious killer in the shadows is an 8-year-old boy. Shrek. No kidding. The first time I saw it I was so invested after the opening scene. Tropic Thunder. And they ordered the segments in a way that I'm sure they wanted some of the audience to think that Booty Sweat and Bust A Nut were real products. They didn't want you to catch on right away. The Prince of Egypt starting off with Deliver Us was absolutely jaw-dropping. I can't think of a single stronger opening in any of the movies I've ever watched. Granted, that isn't a lot because I'm not a big movie person, but still. The first scene of Baby Driver. I can't believe that movie didn't win the Oscar for sound editing. The driving scenes paired with the music were so perfect. The Departed. Powerful footage and commentary did such a great job of kicking it off, while giving a glimpse into what propelled Matt Damon's character into his entry into the criminal family. Then the line, "When I was your age they would say we can become cops. Or criminals. Today. What I'm saying to you is this: when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference?" Felt that was perfectly within the spirit of the entire movie. And sets the stage for what I consider to be one of the best films ever made. The Lion King, 1994. Can't believe I'm first with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Also, no Star Wars. Star Wars was an immediate hook for me. That opening scene with the blockade runner coming into view, being chased down, boarded, laser battle and invader, all in a matter of minutes. Watchmen. The Bob Dylan song paired with images showing the difference between that universe and ours was ducking gold. I honestly can't think of a better pair to start a movie with the hype on maximum. Super Troopers. Deadpool. That opening scene was the pitching for the movie and the studio didn't like it. So Ryan Reynolds uploaded to Whitey and the rest is history. I mean, we don't know for sure if it was Ryan or not. Wink. The Godfather. I think the scene where Bonacera asks Don Corleone for justice sets up our perspective about the Don pretty well. In that scene we instantly learn everything that Don Vito Corleone stood for. Edit. Spelling. Speed. I am Speed. Mad Max. Fury Road. Duck, yes. That movie hits you in the face from the beginning and doesn't stop. It literally made me giddy. Nightmare Before Christmas. Everyone knows the intro. Kingsman. Set up them ridiculousness yet stylish action perfectly. Team America. World Police opened strong and sold the audience on the marionette performance to come. The opening of Serenity was a stunningly tight exposition. In minutes you are given an overview of the verse and what its central conflict is. You are also given the antagonist, the operative, and how coldly pragmatic he is. You are shown just how much Simon cares for River. Are given the whole layout of the ship. You are introduced to all the characters and see, by their interactions, their core beliefs and roles. There are some great openings listed in this thread, but I don't know that any of them hit the density of exposition as does Serenity.